Hi, Celestial Seers. Let's talk about trance channeling. Trance channeling is a powerful form of spiritual communication. It's where a person allows a spirit being, guide, or a higher consciousness to speak or express them through them, often by entering an altered or deepened state of consciousness. Unlike conscious channeling, where the person relays impressions while still being mentally present, trance channeling involves a partial or full surrender of awareness. That way, the spiritual entity can speak directly through that person, using the channel's voice, the person who is channeling. Use their body, or even during automatic writing. The channeler may or may not remember what was being said afterward. This might sound a little intense, and it can be, but experienced trance channelers do this with preparation, grounding, and full consent, always calling in loving and benevolent beings and energies. When I trance channel, I do meditation, I do some grounding, and then I call in my angels to, to protect me and keep all negative and mischievous energy far away from me. Generally happens in different levels of depths. You can be in a light trance. The channeler is aware of what's happening, even with, at times their eyes are open, but feel somewhat disassociated. Messages come smoothly, it often looks as though they were just giving an inspired speech. Medium trance, the channeler begins to feel the presence take over more distinctly. Voice tone or body posture may change, the way they speak, the way they use their hands, even sometimes perhaps even sounding like a complete different person altogether. When they go deeper, the channeler becomes more unconscious, or actually steps aside entirely. The entity speaks directly, and the person doesn't often remember what was actually said. For me, when I trance channel, I go pretty deep. I would say probably medium. It feels as though I am in the room, but I am in the corner of the room, so I can hear what the entity is saying, and I'm present, but I don't always remember afterwards everything that I've said. It's quite interesting, but I do recommend doing a lot of research, using angels, protecting yourself, meditating, and preparing if you're going to try to channel. Yeah, exactly. Talk about some famous trance channelers. There's Jane Roberts, perhaps one of the most influential trance channelers. Jane Roberts channeled an entity known as Seth, beginning in the 1960s. Seth delivered profound metaphysical teachings. His most famous phrase was, "You create your own reality." Her book series, especially Seth Speaks, introduced core concepts like multi-dimensionality, now that's a long word, probable realities, and the eternal nature of the soul. Jane would enter into a light to medium trance, allowing Seth to speak through her while her husband recorded the sessions. I read a lot of her books. They're pretty deep. I don't know if any of you remember J.Z. Knight. Late in the 1970s, J.Z. Knight, a spiritual teacher from Washington, she began channeling an entity by the name of Ramtha. Ramtha claimed to be a 35,000-year-old enlightened warrior from Lemuria. I guess that must be a planet. Knight enters a deep trance, allowing Ramtha to speak directly through her, often with a dramatically different voice. Yeah, it's very interesting. Look Ramtha up if you ever get a chance. It's interesting. Esther Hicks is very well known. Esther Hicks, she channels a connection, a group of non-physical teachers called Abraham. Abraham shares clear and powerful messages about the law of attraction, vibration, and deliberate creation. I love Abraham Hicks. The teachings, made famous through a book called Ask and It Is Given, have inspired millions to shift their thinking and energy toward enlightenment and joy. There are many others. There is Sonoya Roman, who channeled Orin as well. And then there's this fella, Edgar Cayce, also known as the Sleeping Prophet. Not always labeled a trance channeler, Edgar Cayce would enter like a deep trance, almost like falling asleep, where he would access the Akashic records, the universal soul record, to give medical readings and sometimes past life insights and spiritual teachings. So what he would do is he would lie down, close his eyes, and his voice would shift as he channeled answers to questions from his unconscious mind or spirit guides. A lot of times he would ask. Edgar Cayce, also known as the Sleeping Prophet. Though not always labeled a trance channeler, Edgar Cayce entered deep trance states where he would access the Akashic records, also known as the Universal Soul Record, to give medical readings, past life insights, and spiritual teachings. Cayce would lie down. Oftentimes he would astral project, and he would close his eyes, and his voice would shift as he channeled answers to questions from his unconscious mind or his spirit guides. Many of his predictions and remedies were later verified and are still studied today. He was quite a pioneer in his time, and a lot of his remedies are made from natural, pure herbs and essential oils. Let's talk about Daryl Unka. He's kind of a new channeler, but he's been around for a while. He is a multidimensional being from an advanced civilization called Esasani. Unka, he goes from a light to a medium trance, and Bashar comes through very fast, very energetic, very full of humor and wisdom. And Bashar, the entity, teaches about parallel realities, quantum physics, or how our beliefs shape our experience. His sessions are filled with practical tools, a lot of comedy, and personal transformation. If you haven't seen any of Bashar or Daryl Unka channeling Bashar, please find some videos and watch him. He's truly entertaining and mostly gives a lot of practical, common sense answers. It's just that it's not that we don't know what these entities are coming through, and the information that they're coming through and giving us. It's not that we don't already know it. We just forget. We forget because we have this ego, and ego demands judgment, and we forget that we create our reality. We forget that we are in control of our thoughts. We forget that we have access, like anyone else in the world, to obtaining all the answers that we need. They're all in us. All you have to do is ask. Just like Esther Hicks says, ask and it shall be given. Have a great day.